18th. The ancient Chinese were keen observers of nature. They saw that the daily and yearly cycles affected everything in nature, creating evidence of predictable forces they referred to as energies. They surmised these energies must have a powerful physical and psychological influence on humans. These observations led them to develop a philosophy and a medicine for living a balanced and happy, vitality filled life by living in harmony with the 5 seasons. From the day night cycles, they deduced yin and yang as complementary forces, not opposites. From the seasonal cycle came the 5 elements or phases of energy. The transitional period that the ancient Chinese knew that transitioning from one season to another would never happen in only one day, but rather over a transitional period of time. Each regular season lasts 72 to 73 days. Each in between transition season naturally occurs 4 times a year. Therefore, each transition period lasts approximately 18 days. The transition was observed as a time when the departing energy was said to return to the earth to be transformed into the next seasonal energy. Thus, Earth was the name given to the transitional season and to this 5th energy. Balance. So the Earth is seen as a moment of balance between yin and yang. The current Earth energetic season lasts from April 18th to May 5th. And then energetic summer, fire, begins May 6th and runs until July 19th. To balance an earth skin condition, it's about detoxifying, purifying, and normalizing the skin, clearing up blemishes, toxicity, acne, reducing enlarged pores. The energy of purification. So if your skin is already balanced, taking into account what is normal for your age, then now is the time to utilize skin and hair care from the Earth line. Thanks for tuning in. Follow for more. In the meantime, visit www.tanyad.tv/Feed05.
Inshallah and Ashe. It's a fantastic Friday, and we are live zooming from Small Lake City, Utah. As always, I should move over a little bit for my poor Instagram viewers. Just saying. Maybe I gotta move this way. Apologies. Sorry for that. But either way, it truly is a fantastic Friday. There's a lot of stuff happening for us, as always. I'm going to switch this up a little. So if you don't know, I do a monthly live show called Spill the Tea. It's held the third Friday of each month on Zoom, if you will, in the morning. And I generally talk about the celestial energies, the celestial bodies, the moon, the season that we're entering into. In this case, it's the season of Gemini, the element of fire, Mercury, and so much more, and where we're heading through that. And then I host the replays in my Shamanic Healing Academy. It's an online coven, if you will, a grimoire of mystical, magical insights, returning us to the origins of where we've come from. In my case, that's kind of where I glimmer to. And cowrie shell divinations, the art of cowrie shell divination was brought to the West by an indigenous African shaman, Melodoma Somé. In my Mini-Divinations, I'm certified as a diviner, and every body comes into this world with a gift and a purpose. And depending what, I'll call it your choreography, it's kind of your foundation. And it plays out in different fields. It's not just the seasons of time, but also the season of the year, the month, the day, and the hour. It's all a foundation for each and every one of us. And my thing is I love watching people, or I love seeing people living their gift and their purpose and being in their divine alignment, what they came and what they arrived for at the planet at this particular time, especially, right? We're all in it. And being a reflector in human design, this is actually my chart, actually. I've known I'm a reflector for a very long time. And reflectors are basically a mirror into the unseen, a barometer, the health of the environment, the health of the community. We reflect back to the world what is in alignment and what is not in alignment, whether it's people, places, or things, and a lot more, quite honestly. I generally work in the Dagara cosmology, I'm actually part of the Fire Clan. Fire is all about dreams, visions, the other world, spirit, the realm of spirit. And every elemental being actually carries the different frequency vibrations. And we need a complete village for wholeness. It's like staring at a candle. If we all stared at the same color of a candle, there would not be much excitement. And we all have a gift and we all have a purpose. Now, I brought in the Chinese four pillars because that's like another foundation I look at. Predominantly, this is for our health and our well being, is why I look at the elementals. This is not my chart. This is actually the energy of noon today. I brought in yang fire hour of the horse, which is also the heart, the small intestine, on a yin fire day, that is today. So energetically, we've got a yin fire day and a yin wood or rabbit day on a young earth and a dragon of a month. So our day, the yin fire, is feeding our month. So energy's like going away from us. And then in doing so, the element that's missing here is actually metal. And metal is courage, but it's also grief. It's also sadness, the two opposing forces. And in the Dagara cosmology, grief is also a ritual. We in the West, we don't give time and space to grieve our ancestor, somebody who's crossed over into the other world. We rush the grieving process, and energetically, we need to give time and space to that because it is part of the cycle of life. I find that that's possibly why a lot of people have conditions that are related to metal or mineral or air, whether it's lung, large intestine. It's the grieving process. And we wear that on our bodies because our bodies give us telltale signs to what's happening within. So, to give you an example, years ago, I'll say 30, I'll go with 30. 30 plus years ago, like I vision things. Vision is just vision, dreams. It's just what happens for me. That's kind of my intuitive gift order, part of it. I work a lot with the shaman's portal, the upper world, the lower world, and all the in-betweens. And if you don't know me, when I was 7 years old, I was blessed by death. My neighbor actually ran me over twice. It's like, make sure she pops out kind of a thing. And I was in the other world in a coma for a time. And my best friend, my neighbor friend, actually traded places with me. I remember the vortex, if you will, streams. My buddy Kurt traded places with me, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" And he was like literally waving to me as I shot back down into the earth plane. And it took me 7 years to literally climb back into my body. And what's funny about, or at least in my world, what's funny to me is how people always want to ascend when they really physically haven't descended all the way, which takes time and space in this dimension, which is quite different than the other world. And that's from my experience. I think all near-death experiences are different based on the time and space that it happens in. Some of them are wake-up calls, and some of them are initiations, depending on the time when it happens. However, back to my little diagram here. So energetically, through spirit, I was talking to spirit literally about what to bring into my then business 30 years ago, because I was in a transformational stage. And I kept seeing this dragon, this slumbering dragon. And I was awake. It was a waking vision, which is different than a dream state vision, by the way, but I couldn't get it out. This dragon kept falling asleep, kept waking up. It was a white dragon. Anyway, I got to my then business. It was called Beauty and the Beast, of all things. And their logo was the white yin and the yang dragon, all based on the 5-element theory, all about healing and wellness, colored light therapy, all the things. So I've been working with light, sound, vibration for over 30 years. I am in Small Lake City. So bringing this into a world where it's like conditioned was actually, I'm going to say, just very challenging. However, the body, this is what's fantastic. Just like our hands and our feet have reflex zones, so does our face and our body. The body gives us telltale signs and signals. So myself, the earth plane, I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is more of a metal energy vibration. And the heavenly universe is more also, I wouldn't say metal. It's more, it's like dry snow versus wet snow. If if you're picking up what I'm throwing down. But Utah's pretty much a metal vibration energy. And myself, I am very much a fire person. I'm born in a year of fire, month of fire, and also the hour, which is also in a fire realm. So I have a lot of fire organically, nature for me. That's why I'm red. And I know that. So for me to stay balanced is I work with a fire elemental skincare line. It's got a lot of ylang-ylang and different essential oils that balance the fire energy and how it shows up. So predominantly people always have dark circles. I ironically have white circles, which is metal energy, but this is like the water reflex. So these are just telltale signs that happen for us. And same with our body. It's how the body morphs when it's imbalanced. So paying attention to our elemental structure is very important for vitality. We're all unique. We all come into this world with our own energetic frequency, vibration, our gift, and our purpose. I mean, how boring would the world be if we all had the same gift and purpose? So my whole point there is every person has something unique and something to offer this world, and we all arrive here with a unique opportunity, co-creating with Creator, God, whatever you want to call it. Now, entering into the season of May, which is also the snake. We're at the end vibration of the dragon, and we're in a dragon year. But next week, we'll be fully into fire, the dimension of fire, which is also the southeast, the south, and the southwest. So that's kind of the arena of summer. This is like the cycles and the seasons of what happens for us. So there's different energies that become alive at different time and space through the year. And knowing that we all have our animal vibration in space. So I'll use myself as an example. I'm actually born in a goat year, a fire goat year. The month of the horse, a lot of fire energy. So that's the south direction. So that's like a peak opportunity for me. My 4 pillars chart, I have 0 water. So water as an elemental is my balancing agent. It's a resource for me. It's like the parent that feeds my day master, which is wood, the tiger. So it's birthing of new beginnings and change and transformation. I'm just showing you this because the fire energies, we want to accentuate and make sure the southeast, south, and also the southwest are vibrationally cleansed, if you will. We're heading into the peak of fire season, which is a yang energy. It's action energy, cleansing, and whatnot. And then I have this chart here. Let me get rid of that one. So these are the directions of like the accenting parts of us. And we all carry all of these elements. It's about elemental balance. And this is where they play out. And I guess I call it the Bhagavad. However, just like we are energy beings having a human experience, I'll say, we're a part of not just the energy world, the subtle world, and atoms and protons and all the crazy, fun, fantastic quantum things, but we're also a part of nature. So we carry these energetically, vibrationally, not just in our body, but also in our environment. So for myself, when I start working with people one-on-one, number one, I look at their body, their reflex zones, see what the body's speaking, because the body speaks a language of its own. And after looking at their skin and the reflex zones and their body, and also the 4 element pillars, I then also go into feng shui and look at their home to see where there's a disturbance in the field, on top of looking at the shells, the conversation with the cowrie shells. So these are just a few things I do. Spirit always guides me on what to look at, whether it's your astrology chart, your 4 pillars. It's kind of I get downloads literally before you actually have your physical appointment. I get information in my dream space. That's kind of a lot. However, I just want to bring this out here real quick. If you don't know, I do a podcast. It's called Musing with Tanya D. And we are in a season of mineral. And this cute gal, Candace Davies, she actually helps people with connection, community. And so we did this podcast called Restoring the Disconnection in Community, because we've become kind of disconnected in a year of connection, which I found like plugging the plug was quite interesting. So you can check this episode out either on my website or my YouTube channel. Either way, episode 803. Great interview. Probably one of my funnest. And my interviews this year, I'll just say, they've gone to once a month. I'm so busy. It's just like the disconnect, right? So it's about connection. And the elemental pathway, if you don't know, gift and purpose, like again, we all come into the world with a gift and a purpose. Gift and purpose was like opening the door to the elemental pathway, but there's not just an elemental pathway. There's also the imaginal pathway or the realm. That's kind of what I say that at. The power pathway, commanding forces, and also the divine pathway, and a lot more. But I find that people understand elementals a lot easier than we do subtle energies. So this is kind of an access point into your own personal medicine, your gift and purpose, and why you arrived. It's a 6-week immersion. Diving in, I'm going to speak mostly to the ancestors on day 1, just so you know, and give you some guidance into like looking within your own soul to reflect on your own magical being, why you arrived at this time specifically, and move you forward from that. So with that, anybody curious, I do the reason I go live is I do mini cowrie shell divinations, and I don't have an image of that. Oh, but however, let's do this. So the mystic message this week, I am manifesting my dream reality. We're in the season of Taurus. Taurus is all about manifesting, feeling valued inside of our body, embodying our value, and really bringing that into the physical realm. So that's why I went with this particular manifestation and our affirmation and bringing it into reality. So that's kind of what's happening there. So now I'm going to switch. If you are curious, looks like things are happening here on my Instagram. Apologies. Oh, I don't know what's happening there. Okay, I might have lost Instagram. No worries. I'm streaming somewhere. However, back to the cowrie shells. I'm going to switch some screen action. So all you got to do is comment in the comments, and I will ask the shells what it is on the top of your mind. I'm going to affirm your spirit, those on the replay, those now, that I may be a conduit to deliver the message you need to receive today on this specific day, May 3rd. And we'll switch some screens here. Oh, wrong way. Let's get that one off there. Here we go. There we are. So cowrie shell divination, again, it's the art of divination brought to the West by an indigenous African shaman, Malidoma Somé. And literally spirit guided me to him through visions. Everything, like I said, is through visions. I see into the other world. I don't know if that's because of my near death or that's how I was wired. I kind of just see my experience as far as death and being in the matrix, if you will, as going back to get the memo. It's like the universe like plugged me back in, and I had to go back to just get more information. Nothing bad about it. I totally forgave my sweet neighbor. She just happened to be the conduit that brought me to the other world to get me on my magical pathway, basically. So if you're curious and you have a question that's like glimmering in your soul, something something that is accentuating for you. I do find lately I do a lot of cowrie shell divinations. It's either usually around career, relationships, and what I will say to that is we attract what we love. So if you're not feeling loving towards yourself, you're going to attract a relationship that is not loving towards you. But on the other side of that, there's also attracting the relationship where you are like the memo for the other. I believe everything happens for us, not to us. And it's just awakening to that and seeing it through the eye of Creator, like getting the memo. Just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's an opinion, right? So yeah, if you have something that's floating on your mind, something like you're tasting at the moment, just go ahead and comment. And I'm not seeing myself live in a few of my corridors. Like I said, I've been updating, Facebook's doing its thing. So I don't know where I'm actually live streaming from or not from. So there's always that as well. So I'm assuming I'm just on my main page. With what's happening, let's open another screen because we have that option as well. And here we go. I am hilarious. Okay, so who's joining me live today? Okay, I see myself there. All right, so yeah, just to give you a shout out, all you got to do is comment in the show notes if there's something that's on the tip of your tongue you're curious about. Or I can actually do a read around. Okay, so this is interesting. This is honesty. And this is just being honest with ourselves, basically. And it's like, where do I belong in the scheme of life? And do I trust where I belong in the scheme of life? That's a good one, right? Like, where do I not belong? Is this my tribe? Or are these my people? Am I with the right people, in the right place, singing the right song, doing the right things? And I don't know if you can tell, but his throat chakra is actually activated. So this is also speaking our spiritual truths, what's activated for us and through us. So that's fantastic. Oh, and this is the Dark Lady. She's actually connected, ironically, to Scorpio. And my moon is in Scorpio. So I love her. Just saying. I think she's fantastic as well. And she's also about trusting what we feel going into those deep Scorpio waters. So I like that. I'm going to go with both of those. So if nobody wants to ask a question, if you're not curious, you don't have something on the tip of your tongue, maybe you're nervous. That does happen, right? But the Dark Lady, I'll take that. So I'm just kind of waiting to see who wants to join in on the conversation and ask a question. Let me close that window. I don't know sometimes. Oh, that's hilarious. You do need to comment, by the way, because I cannot see the questions. I see how many people are joined in, but I don't see anybody asking a question. So, and if you are in Small Lake City, Utah, I do cowrie shell divinations at Crohn's Hollow in person as well. I'm going to go, let's see, I want to see something. I don't know if I can. More actions. Oh, I don't want to touch things. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I just don't know about all this social sharing. However, did I stop something? There we go. Okay, well, if nobody wants to dive in and ask a question and show up on my chats there, I do have excellent streaming. So that's awesome. Just saying. Okay, so I'm just going to do divination, a conversation for the weekend. But number one, I'm going to affirm my spirit for the magical being that I am. Affirm the spirits of my gatekeepers, my guides, my guardians, my Wedame, my Cantomble, the being seen and the unseen, the great spirit, the oneness. That I may be conduit to deliver the message we need to receive for this weekend, taking us through the weekend into the new moon to manifest, by the way. So with that, I say Ashe, blessings, and thank you. And so just tuning into my shells, imagining my higher self, my spirit self, sitting opposing to my forces and pulling up my sleeve. Yes, it's cold here. So just move the shells. So this tells me we're in the waters of needing, we're like in our own island. Sometimes we're feeling alone. How we identify in the world is going through a transformation. We need to literally be in a relationship to marry our own peace, joy, laughter, opportunities, conversations. But we're blocking our own glimmer, our own magic, and our connection to the other world that comes from over here. So that's important. Connection to spirit, the other world. A lot of people, we've lost our connection. We've lost our way because we don't have spirit to spirit conversations. And it doesn't necessarily need to be in meditation, but it's just the invocation of having a spirit to spirit conversation. So this is activating that. It's like calling us towards that, to have that conversation and literally speaking our authenticity, our spiritual truths, our acumen, and what that looks like, because it's all individual. And it's like the ability to say no, literally. And no means new opportunities. Like if you're not in alignment with somebody, what they say, whatever, and just know no response is also a response. You can walk away. You don't need to agree or disagree. You can just walk away. That right there is a message in itself. But we do need boundaries with like our mind. Our mind is a tool. Mercury, our mind holds every experience we've ever experienced in this world or the other in time space. Depending where your Mercury is, kind of tells you where that plays out. We do need to be devoted to our own heart and get organized around who are our friends, who is our village, are we in the flow with life, and where is this wake-up call happening for us? Maybe we're cleansing out old friends, we're bringing in new friends, people that align with our vibration, with where we want to be, where we're going, to get into the flow of life, the message there as well. But it's also in transformation. We're getting clarity around that. It's time to open the door to our own innate wisdom and get into the flow of that. It might appear radically different, something very off grid. I'm going with that for a few reasons. Uranus and Taurus is like, what are we going to accept and not accept in this world? And also getting into the flow of that, it feels kind of galactic conversation, just saying that out loud. But in order to bring us home, so we're seen buoyantly in this world, it's about cleansing and renewing, but also spirit to spirit conversations. I always found it quite curious during the experience how humanity held on to, I'll say, the laws of man or the laws of the physical world over the laws of spirit. I always found that curious. However, taking it into the weekend, what's happening here is we need to identify as somebody who is speaking our authentic truth, transform that, and literally find our inner peace is going through a transformation to get clear so we can end up where we do belong in our heart space. So that's kind of what's happening there. And side note, our star, I believe we're all stars on a spiritual walk of fame. We need to have that conversation of what our starlight is and bring that magic, that medicine, that gift, that purpose into this world and not let others outside of us dim our light, but there's also, just saying, in the darkness, there's the glimmer of light. So once we face the darkness, we rebound and connect to spirit. That's kind of what's happening there. So again, if you're curious, go ahead and comment, and I will ask the shells at least a question and go from there. Now, this tells me, I get this card a lot. The summer, this is a summer of energy, vitality, transformation, and yeah, connecting to spirit, whatever that is for each and every one of us, whatever your spiritual practice is. I do have on my resource page on my website, gives you an idea of how to like do ritual about doing like an opening prayer, physically doing the ritual, and also a closing invocation. There's all these sides to doing ritual, by the way, but this is like interesting because it's outside the sphere. So this is like having a galactic perspective through change and transformation, just saying, because it's outside the village. So with that, I've been talking for 30 minutes, and this also tells me the medicine wheel. So this is about being balanced within our elementals, all of them. Again, I'll use myself. I am the fire clan. I'm born in a fire month. I have 0 water in my 4 pillars chart. So water is my conduit. It's like my scrying tool, as well as having a conversation with the other world. But this is elemental balance. So bringing in all the elements for just that balance. So just kind of tune into your body and ask your body what it needs. The body never lies. It sends us telltale signs all the time to tune into that. So again, you guys are being shy today. Last week you were all lively. And then Tembaloo, this is like the Earth Mother, which we're still in an Earth season, by the way. This is like adding sustenance and nurturing as an offering to the spirit of the earth. Beltane, right? I don't know how many of you did rituals there, but I specifically, because I feed the Fae, new moons, full moons, and any opportunity in between, I left goat's milk. I prefer goat's milk over dairy milk because it hasn't been a process to the negative of having no frequency vibration. And this is the fox. So this tells me we need to go out and be sly like a fox and go out and have some fun on top of being seen and getting clear about our pathway, inner peace, our own innate wisdom, and activating that in the physical world. So there's a kind of a lot happening. Again, comment. I don't see any comments, so I can't really move the shells on your behalf. But yeah, this is about us going out and being kind of foxy for the weekend. I'll take that. Not that I'm going anywhere. However, when I do go out, I will be foxy. And also, oh, look at that. This is connecting to light beings, beings of the other world. This is like ancient wisdom, which brings me to, I don't see the shell. These are beings that are not of this world, that we're a part of in our DNA, in our codex. And yeah, I can't see the particularities in my shells here, but there is a specific, there's a specific there. So this might be literally some otherworldly conversation, communication happening. I'm just saying, dream big, communicate with spirit, and honor your ancestors for all they have to offer us in the other world. And with that, since I have no questions, thanks for showing up. Nobody's tuning in and commenting. So I will just say, Ashe, blessings. Thanks for tuning in. And I will see you next Friday for another Spill the Tea. And just remember, the elemental immersion starts on Wednesday. We're going to dive deep into the elemental pathway and move forward. And just so you know, each day I'm going to give you like a path of discovery and move you into ritual for each of the elementals. And what happens for you is always individual and unique. You might find that there are people that actually have the same kind of taste, if you will, the ingredient on their mind, and they relate to that because we're all kind of particles, atoms, experiencing things in our own flavor, but we're not alone. You might feel alone, but whatever is happening for you within you is also happening for you and within somebody else energetically. So, again, thanks for tuning in. I'm grateful you showed up and you arrived, and I'll see you on the other side. Ashe, blessings.